Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Finance Committee, this January 8th morning. Thank you all for being here. Ms. Swopes, if you will call the roll.
Veronica Cordova.
Here.
Preston Elkins.
Here.
Preston South.
Here.
Watson. Oh, Wood.
She's here.
Here. Oh,
She's here.
you just.
Here.
Okay, very good. And my number is going to slip. Okay. So. All the members are shown for pleasure.
Morning. Good. Okay, so the next item is item 3, approval of the minutes from November 15th, 2024. They are in your packet.
Move for approval. Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Elkins and a second by Mr. Wood. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And all opposed? Motion carries. Item 4, discussion and action items. Item A is review of bills, expenses, and revenue reports for September through December of 2024 for recommendation to council. Ms. Rivera.
So 4 months were included in your packet. There's a lot of information, and bear with me because now I'm doing accounts payable. So if you see some descriptions on there, please let me know if you've got any questions. I will stand for any questions on those months. 18.
I had a couple. Javier Machuca, we have a professional services contract and it says for, and this was check 89-108. Looks like we paid him $6,600 for a fiscal year 2025 professional service contract, and then he billed us for services. So he's on retainer or something for a year, and then we also pay him every time he bills us. Is that what that's?
So he's not a retainer. He really bills upon his services rendered.
Okay.
So probably the first check to him, in this maybe September, still probably would have been some work for the previous year. So a couple months behind is in his billings.
Good.
But yes, we have him on professional services contracts so that he can assist us with the audit, and a lot of his work was last year too. And then we also have a professional contract with Easley and Mitchell, and they may assist us also in our current fiscal year 24 audit.
Any other questions?
What is Foxter Opco LLC? The description just said the same thing, so I didn't know what that was. And it's not for a large amount, but that's the vendor. Was Foxter Opco?
Okay, which month are you looking at?
This would be for October, check number 89-100. No. 89-233. Page 6 of 17. If I have to.
Oh, yes, that is Miss Melissa and the Pat's, what do you call it?
Trip Master.
Trip Master.
It's an app that they pay for, like a subscription service,
Oh, okay.
and we pay for it every month. It provides their ability to maintain schedule and direct the routes.
For transit?
Yes.
Thank you. Trying to get better about descriptions and RTOs and such, so. Well, that when we generate this report, we'll have a better description.
And is that the annual cost of the subscription, or do you pay $615?
Yes.
Get a truck on here from Dawn Chalmers Ford. Is there a reason that we inquired about a local dealership price?
They can't
stand for insurance. They can't.
Martin Sanchez was here, he spent a lot of time trying to get it there, but just can't beat state purchasing.
Isn't, is that in New Mexico or is that?
Albuquerque.
Albuquerque. So for some reason they get the contract.
They're one of several that are on state purchasing.
And one of the closest to us.
We can work on state purchasing from Illinois. Or New Mexico, so it's up to the dealerships to go through the process. And if they don't go through the process, then.
So the state of New Mexico issues like requests for proposals and such to already obtain the best procurement for our entire state. And that's why the state has lots of statewide price agreements so that these local entities can utilize that pricing. And they've negotiated those pricing for us.
Thank you for explaining.
What type of truck is that? What is that?
Which
Is that
one is
ours? Yeah, PD transport.
It's an expedition.
Oh, okay.
It says a Maverick on this one.
Oh, that was for the water department. The water department did those.
Oh, there's one right below it.
The water department purchased two.
2 Mavericks, one for the water meter and one for GIS. Since those vehicles were kind of ancient. They were pretty old.
Well, Johnny was driving one of our own vehicles.
Okay, so we have 3 new vehicles then.
Yes.
So, okay.
And this one says transport, urban transport.
We have to transport juveniles, mental commitments. Unfortunately, a lot of our
Anything
juvenile
that we can't
transport.
house here.
Right,
So that's just base and then you'd add on all the add-ons after that.
yeah, and all that one's getting is a cage and a radio. Or the cage, the prisoner partition,
And that one was like our ARPA.
yes. Four-wheel drive, so that we can make it through Pines Corners, because a lot of our transports are. Well, a lot of the juveniles are gonna go to Farmington. And some of the mental commitments go to Albuquerque.
Any other questions? Hearing none, what is the pleasure of committee?
Move for approval.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Mr. Elkins and a second by Mr. Selk, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Item B, presentation and action of FY 2025 for third quarter budget adjustments.
Next one is our bar, which will be for the third quarter budget adjustment. So the first line item you'll see is a state required bar. The system automatically calculates it based on our balance on the recap. We received some donations in the 4301, that's what it captures, I believe 1801 for trees. And then 2,500 for the fire department equipment. And then the next, I think you may need some help finding that. Yeah, very bad.
That's at 2.
Okay,
I have it.
Appreciate it.
Okay, and then the next budget, it encompasses a couple of the grants, but we're netting it together in our system, and that one, it'll be for the senior citizen grant. We received the emergency funding for $17,636. And then also correcting one in our system that we wouldn't have. So that's what that adjustment is for. The 7,000 is budgeting adjust for the tablets for our council. The next budget is $500. That is budgeting, a budget adjustment for training. So we're utilizing it from one department to the other, so we can utilize it in the right department. And then the $2,500, you'll see that now we're putting that $2,500 that we received in donation for fire equipment in their department. Then the 1801 is for the trees. Then you'll see the senior citizens, $17,636. $42,000 is a budget adjustment. That is the contract that we have with technical financial management, our contract with Jason Burns. So we needed to budget adjust that because we did not have it for fiscal year 25. The next set of budget adjustments includes $12,575 in our EMS fund, supplies, adjusting those to put the $22,154 in equipment and machinery for the grant for the ambulance.
For the ambulance, the cardiac monitors and the chest. That's the two. Any cost of all.
And then our E911 fund, we're adjusting it to match what they approved per their agreement. And so I just learned yesterday that we have to budget what the E91 grant agreement is, the total that they give us, but a lot of the expenses are spent on our behalf. So they spend them and then we can adjust the budget. Now, the only things that we would expend and ask for reimbursement are like trainings, GIS consulting services, and minor equipment. For the state, we have to have a budget, but they spend it on our behalf. Okay.
What does that money go towards?
Dispatch communication services, I believe they're working, yeah.
So anytime like we need equipment, that's where we do it from the other end and then not.
Not for dispatch, for this part of the grant, it's just for the 911 system. And it's like a 5 to 7 year cycle for them to do anything, but then they maintain upgrades to the 911 stuff. It's all related to the phone stuff. And most of it, we don't even see. Most of it's just things the state does in our county. So,
Like I know they paid Yucca, who else? Like,
Quest,
handle some of
things
that.
like that. Quest was in there the other day redoing some stuff with the landlines that come in. So, other than that, that's where they paid for the new 911 system, the phones for 911, for the dispatcher's answer, and then
And that's
the
where you say
generator.
the cycle, is that because every
Right.
so often then they can upgrade, okay.
right, and then like the furniture was on when we did the move, we were up for all that, so
Okay,
that's what.
thank you.
Our next one is our grant that we received from New Mexico Fire Protection for $600,000. That is recording the revenue and then also budgeting the expense. And then the $33,052 is also another grant in our streets fund. So you'll see the grant was $33,052, and then we had a little bit of a match, so the expense is $44,069. And then please disregard the $205,000. It says go to approval for council. It won't be on there because I had already budgeted for it. Fire Chief Kathy, when we were going over these, he reminded me that we already have it, but he would like to keep the 205.
Yeah, it wasn't for that. You already tried.
Doesn't hurt to say, to hear the word no, right?
So that's 600 is just for one truck?
Yeah, for an $800,000 truck.
So we still have $200,000 match, so we have to put up.
It's not technically a match, but yes, that's based on the cost,
That's the remaining.
the remaining cost that we're trying to figure out.
It was 600,000.
Oh, our current rescue truck that is 22 years old was 275,000. So.
Way up.
We do have quotes from two different companies. We're trying to decide. There is a company in Albuquerque that has a Class A pumper on the lot, but it's not equipped. It's not exactly what we need for our area, but it's available, you know. We are specing out a unit to build, but it'll take 2 to 3 years. Prices are comparable, so we're trying to decide the best way to utilize the funding.
But by then, when prices go up again, so
We would be locked in at the price that we agreed upon. Except for some minor little things, as far as cost of tires and the equipment that goes on it. May go up some, but it would be the truck itself.
2 to 3 years to build.
Yeah.
It's gonna have some.
They do, but they are so backlogged that it's really hard for them to get chassis. Is the biggest issue.
yeah, that's what, at the co-op, we just ordered a bucket truck that we won't get till 2029. So it'll take a little bit.
I'm glad that we're not alone in this and we can work together.
Yes.
The next item is a federal grant that we received for the hazard mitigation. The federal will be granting us up to 76,000 in reimbursement, so that 76,000 is the revenue. And then the 84,000 budget adjustment you see, that's for the expenditures. So we have a little bit of a match
It's a joint project with the county.
with the county, correct? And so we're gonna be in a sense the fiscal agent, so the money will flow through here. Okay. Then in water fund, you'll see a budget adjustment to our building and maintenance for 30,000. For some updating in the offices. And then you'll see some adjusting also within the budget. You'll see it's the 7,200 and the 6,000. And then moving that to our vehicles. So the water department has another vehicle on order, and that's just adjusting within the budget to meet the budget adjustment for the vehicle. For the 13,200.
So they're buying a $103,000 unit. Is that-
That's
Yeah,
total.
that's the budget after the budget adjustment. So the budget initially was 90,000, budget adjustment is 13,200. And then the budget now, after that adjustment, would be 103.
It's 3 vehicles.
So the one that's now is actually a $43,000 vehicle. It's a 2025 Ford F-150 regular cab 4x4. But we needed a little bit more in that line item to account for the 43. And then solid waste, you'll see our revenue for the dumpster grant that the state gave us is the $599. You'll see it in revenue, and then you'll also see it in the expenditure line item. And that is it for budget adjustments. We will have more later on, but this will for this meeting.
Do we have any questions on the adjustment items?
You'll see the next, probably last page or two is the budget recap. So with the pending budget adjustments, this is what our budget looks like, what the balances are for each fund.
Can I ask on the fund 5100, the water enterprise fund, that 4,030,000, that is gonna be for all water activities, correct? That's not just gonna be maintenance of the system, that's gonna include payroll, stuff like that.
Yeah, everything. In fact, our water enterprise fund, if you see it in the recap report, it includes our 550 fund. So there's two funds together.
I was praying that we were doing $4 million worth of maintenance this year, but I didn't see that happen.
And eventually you will see budget adjustments for the water fund. Because if you look at it right now, our water enterprise fund, we have expenditures budgeted of 10 million and revenues of 5.8 million. So we definitely need to drastically adjust it because some of those budgeted items were probably from the previous year or so that it was carrying projects that those projects are closed or we're done with. So we just need to adjust it. But due to time constraints, we'll be do budget adjustment.
So the 5.8 million in revenue for that water enterprise fund, that's a year-to-date estimate, or that's what we've received year-to-date?
No, that's an estimated budget. Mhm.
For the entire.
Yeah, for the entire year. Correct.
Any others? Seeing none, what is the pleasure of the committee?
I'll move for approval.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Elkins, and second by Mr. Selk. All in favor, please state aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Item 5 is other business, any matter not known about or which could not have been reasonably foreseen prior to the timing of posting of the agenda. Do we have anything else that we need to review today? I just have one question. So we're having our finance committee, our finance workshop on the 15th. Just a suggestion maybe to have like I know the three of us will be there, but our full finance committee there so that we can get some, just some understanding of what our budgets and stuff are, if that's possible.
So we'll have the finance committee there.
Just kind of like maybe like a section, or maybe we could do it like a second workshop to where we get some understanding of like the budgets and
How they function.
how they function, how they flow,
I kind of was thinking of
or maybe even
doing that
one-on-ones.
a little bit on workshop, but you wanted it separate.
Well, we're not gonna have our full committee there. We'll have our council there, but like, we won't have Michael and Chris there. So. Especially Chris, Michael's a little bit newer.
I'd like to, we see.
Yeah, it's on the
It's
15th at 4 o'clock.
yeah,
It's open.
it's open to everybody.
Oh, it's open, okay.
It's open.
I can send you an invite.
Okay, just if they have time, they can get there, just to get some
Oh, yeah.
knowledge. Yeah,
Great idea.
It's gonna be chamber.
Yes.
Memorial.
Well, that would be great. Yeah, it's open to the public.
okay, perfect.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great. I didn't realize it was open to the public. I thought it was just like our internal
But I'm
workshop.
glad that you say
Yeah.
that, like wanting, like for me, having an expectation of what you would like to hear, what you'd like to be presented.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, some of them are new and some of them don't understand government, but a lot of them do. And some of it may be repeated for.
Yes. Yeah, but for some of it, it's new. That was just everything. So yeah, if we could get those invites sent out.
I can do that.
And that's all I have. Does anybody else have anything else?
Assume for the meeting, we'll have a detailed agenda as what all we're gonna go over.
Yes. Yeah. Definitely my plan. Hasn't come to fruition, but it will.
So you have about 4 days.
Yeah.
Not even. Anything else? Okay, with that, we are adjourned. Thank you for making time this morning.